What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the relaunch episode of Legend in the Game right here on Media City Radio. I'm your host, Felix Natal Jr., and I couldn't be more excited to bring the show back with fresh energy, real conversation, and legendary stories. So for this first episode of the new season, I had to kick it off with someone who has been there from the very beginning. A true brother, a visionary, and someone who's played a part in my creative journey. Mike Collado, man, this brother was the first person ever to show love to the original Felix Natal Jr. in Passaic, New Jersey. He didn't even knock on the door. He left his business card under my door, and I called him, and without hesitation, he said, I want to come by, film your space, and interview you. At the time, I was super camera shy and always behind the lens, but he brought out the storyteller in me. So it's only right that we kick off this next chapter of Legend in the Game with the one and only Mike Collado. Let's get into it. Thank you for being here today, my brother.
Thank you for the invite.
I'm so happy to see you.
Thank you for the invite. One thing, we had hair at that time. Yeah, we both. Yeah, we lost it all.
Yeah, but look, you lost all the weight. I lost all the hair.
Oh,
you know what I'm
God,
saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
well, first of all, how you feeling, brother?
I feel alive. I feel better now that I could actually say that because it's been tough, but I thank God that I've been alive and been, doing my thing again, and it's a great feeling, bro.
Yeah,
And
you
being
look
here
happy.
with you guys, is rewarding.
Amen,
I
brother.
gotta say that.
I'm just happy to see you, man. I seen you in a place that I definitely never want to see any of my brothers.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful to see you healthy, moving around, having your vision back, you know what I'm saying? Because I know for a minute,
Oh, I gotta talk about that too, man.
like for a minute, I know you didn't have that. And
Yeah.
as a creative, a photographer, videographer,
It's been good.
I couldn't even fabricate the thought if I didn't have my vision. So just seeing you and, a few of my other brothers deal with their trials and tribulations, it just really made me be more health conscious
Yeah.
and really, take my health serious. So I'm glad to see you today, man. I love you dearly, brother.
Thank you. Love you too, man.
And
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here to be my first guest.
I'm a godfather today too.
So first of all, my first question, for those that don't know, who is Mike Collado?
Mike Collado is a guy that was born in the Dominican Republic. I was a child. Basically, I was the only child, and come from a big family in the Dominican Republic. We do, and there's a lot of doctors, a lot of photographers, a lot of dentists, and people that always helping people. My last name is big in the Dominican Republic. Actually, there's a doctor that he was the one that he created. It was like a powerful thing that all the kids used to take it when they were little, called Fortimal. All the Dominicans will relate to that. And that was made by one of my great uncles, Dr. Collado. It's a great story about it, but I don't want to go in too deep on that story because it's more about the family. I want to talk about myself.
Speaking of family, how did you learn photography, video? Since I know your family.
Like I said, it's family related, but most of the things that I've learned was from my dad. My dad is a great photographer, hands down. My uncle too. I have an uncle that he's very famous over there too in the Dominican Republic. From my great uncle, he was the one that actually he got the first steps, when it was like all those big cameras, stuff like that, and he actually got my uncle under the wing, and he was teaching him like the principles. My uncle actually told my father. My father was 10 years old when he learned.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he was very, very young.
So would you say your uncle was the one that inspired you to get into photography?
Yeah, my uncle, and then my dad. My dad was the one that actually got me into photography. But I got an anecdote. I didn't want to be a photographer. I hated it. Yeah, I hated till death, and because I wanted to be a pilot.
Wanted to be a pilot?
Yeah, I wanted to be a pilot.
Wow, you never told me that before.
Well, that's what it is, and I basically I was turned down because my dad actually, he was like, no, what you gonna be a pilot for? Be a photographer. Look at me, I make a lot of money. I was like, yeah, but I don't want to be a photographer. You know, I want to be flying. I want to be going everywhere. And guess what? I started flying because I was getting booked, doing jobs overseas, and I was doing photography. You know, but when I actually started loving photography, when my dad gave me my first pay. He would give me like $100, for example, and I would go, giving me the money. I would go to the store and buy a pair of jeans or a shirt, whatever, sneakers, and I was going to high school at that time. I started when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, that's when I got here to the country.
And it's funny you mentioned travel. So since you brought that up, I'm gonna say, where's the furthest place you ever traveled for a project?
I've been to the furthest place, Turkey.
Turkey.
Yeah, to Turkey.
And where's some of the other places that you've been blessed to go because of a camera?
I've been to England. I've been to Germany. I've been to Italy, your town, your country. I've been to Costa Rica. Costa Rica is so beautiful. I went to a volcano, my brother. That was so peaceful there. I went to South America. Colombia is one of my main countries. I love Colombia. I've done a lot of work over there. Of course, Dominican Republic, doing music videos, destination weddings. I've been to Peru, Ecuador. I've been to Panama, Canada, Puerto Rico, Cuba, you name it, Norway. Been everywhere, my brother.
And it's funny you mentioned music videos because that was one of my questions too. So who are some of the people that you've done music videos for?
I've done videos for reggaeton artists like Long Omar, Arcangel, De La Ghetto, Yagi Maki. I worked with people like Daddy Yankee when he was started. I went to Puerto Rico actually to do a documentary. We did a documentary called Chosen Few. Chosen Few was more like the beginning of reggaeton, like the way it started. People think that started in Puerto Rico, and it's not. Reggaeton started in Panama, and then from there the Puerto Ricans took it and blew it up. But it's a good story about it. You could pick it up on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type Chosen Few, and that will tell you the story about it. And I was fortunate to be part of that project.
I have a two-part question. So speaking of project, do you have a favorite project, and do you have a favorite person you ever worked with?
One of my favorite projects that I've done was when I worked with you, doing the behind the scenes of photo shoots of celebrities. That was a breakthrough for me, and I met a lot of people also because of you. And one of my major, I would say, I did a documentary on Alzheimer's, and that was very, very sad, man. And I learned a lot because I got part of my family that suffered from that, and I lost two aunts because of that. And I identify myself with that project a lot, and I learned. And there's a lot of stuff that I don't want to talk about it because they will censor your show.
It's funny you mentioned the documentary, but you didn't mention Rumba Caliente.
Oh, Rumba Caliente.
That's truthfully how we really met.
That's my baby. Rumba was a TV show that it happened in the 2000s because due to there was a time that I was working for UBO, Urban Box Office, which was one of the main websites at that time, and we got laid off. Just all of a sudden, we got laid off, and I was like, damn, I gotta create something. So I was like, you know what? Why not create a show? And that show would actually project a lot of people like up and coming. And I was like, that'd be hot to go to the clubs and just, record at the clubs. And then that time when I met you, that's when I incorporated the photo shoots, that behind the scenes. Nobody was doing that at that time, the behind the scenes. But,
He's always been ahead of our time, brother.
Yeah, it was. And then I was like, oh, that sounds good. And then I started doing it. And at one point, I met this guy, Edwin. Yeah, ironically, he was my neighbor. He would live in front of me. I didn't know him at that time. And then we had a mutual friend. He was like, hey, I got this guy that, he has a camera and he's not using it. I'm like, oh, introduce him to me. So when I found out he was my neighbor, and then I was like, hey, I have an idea. Why don't we do a show? I have this show that I'm starting to do now. Why don't we partner up and we do the show? And then he was like, oh, yeah, let's try it. But he wasn't that much of a cameraman. He was more of an editor. And then he started editing the project. I loved the way he was editing. And then I have a friend that he used to have a show in this TV. It was a TV channel from Dominican Republic too. And he was like, hey, I could hook you up with the executive, and you have a meeting and see if they like the show. And next thing was history. I put a show on the air, and it was good.
Yeah, I remember those days, man. We shot Vida Guerrero, we shot
Vida
Gloria
Guerra,
Velez, Lazy K,
yeah,
a bunch of models.
I actually had this girl, Rosa.
I was about to say that too, Rosa Acosta.
Rosa Acosta was discovered by me, and I put her in videos and stuff like that. And she wasn't that much of a model because she was a dancer at that time. She used to dance ballet, and I got into like doing videos and stuff like that. So it's good to remember those times.
What was the American dream?
Oh my God, American Dream is the American Dream project was due to you, because we started doing the photo shoots, and then we came up with the concept, the same thing, like going into the studio and recording behind the scenes, with you, Felix, and I appreciate your time for the time being here. And actually, that name came up because we had a dream, at that time of being out there and showcasing everybody that we had. And we did a mistake because we never registered that name. And look what happened now. They have American Dream New Jersey, and they have American Dream Miami. Imagine how much money we lost.
Well, we always like that, brother.
Yeah, we always. So basically, I don't regret it. Like I said, we were too ahead.
You kind of answered this one because you said, I asked you, how'd you meet me? But what's the first thing that pops in your mind when you hear my name?
I see a hungry guy that was at the time of like anybody was doing what they doing. You were like you had that magic wand, that you blessed a lot of people, and you actually gave them the opportunity too, because a lot of people, they didn't have the projection, and with you gave him that confidence, and you believed in a lot of people, and you helped a lot of people also.
I would say that a lot. I discovered a lot of people, and I feel like outside of my gift as a photographer, my gift is seeing the talent in people and bringing the best out of them.
Yeah, that's you, But a lot of people take it for granted.
Of course, especially the day and age we're in, especially now.
Yeah, a lot of people, they think that you did them, more like a favor, but more like you projected them in a way that they don't appreciate you the way they should, And by you going through what you're going right now, yeah, you're going through a lot of stuff too, and that's what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about more about my career right now. I want to talk about myself, like what I'm going through. Like 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with a chronic disease with my kidneys. That I felt that the world stopped for me, and it was sad because I was in the middle of a lot of contracts and doing I was doing a lot of work, and I had to stop because I ended up in the hospital.
Yeah, I remember that, brother. It was crazy because we were going to Florida for my son's that would be 10th birthday, and I'm like, yo, bro, I'm gonna be in Florida, tomorrow. Let's link up.
Yeah.
And he was like, bro, I'm in Hackensack Hospital.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yo, what time is visitation in the morning? Because maybe I could come before my flight. And he was like, it's 24/7.
Yeah.
And I was like, say less, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
And seeing you in that light, bro, like,
I was bloated. I was, oh my God.
It messed me up.
I gained so much weight. One thing that it was tough for me because I couldn't do a lot of stuff that I'm very independent when it comes to like doing stuff in the house and stuff. But one thing that I went through was that I was blind. I was blind for like a month. I couldn't see nothing, bro. Like I used to tell my sister, hey, who's calling me? Oh, go to my bank and see how much I have. I didn't see anything, bro. And I was...
That's scary.
It is scary. But I took a chill pill. I was like, God, if this is what you want from me, I accept it. Thank you for giving me everything. And, this is a process that I got to go through. I went through 4 operations, 4 surgeries. 2 for cataracts, both eyes, and retina detachment. That's what I went through.
Yeah, that's when they put because I know
they put a glass
yeah.
inside, and they put a bubble.
And they put the needle straight through
They
your
put
eyeball.
a needle.
Yeah, a few of my brothers were going through that, bro. When they said that, I'm like...
I saw that needle.
Yeah.
I saw it, like, taking all that blood. I would take, like, a very nice grip because I saw it. I saw everything. I saw the blood going in and going out, like sucking it. It's tough, bro. I'm a very hard fucking guy, man.
You taught me this. You said the importance of documenting everything. Why is that?
Well, because you never know. Actually, we're in this world right now. This is not the real world. This is not the real life. But we have to leave a legacy. Like you said, legend in the game, right? You have to know that you're passing by. You have kids. They're going to have kids. I want to ask you a question, both of you. I want Anthony to answer too. This is gonna be fun, but it's true what I'm gonna say. Do you know your great grandpa? You remember him?
My great grandpa?
Mm-hmm.
No, only met my grandfather. That's it. And I tell this to my son all the time. As I said, be grateful that you have him because by this age, both of my grandfathers were deceased already. So, like my mom's, well, let me start. My dad's father passed away when I was 5. I have two vivid memories of him.
Uh-huh.
And then my grandfather from my mother's side passed away when I was 11 years old. And I have a few of those.
Well, you remember those.
Yeah.
You know why you guys don't remember him? Because he never left you anything. But if I tell you your last name right now, you're gonna remember him, right? Rockefeller.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because he left a legacy.
Because he left a legacy.
Right.
So that's what we gotta do. Because listen, this world, the way we are right now, I don't think we're gonna get my grandpa was like 106 when he died. All right, I don't think we're gonna be near that.
No.
By the way we're going right now.
I don't think so neither.
you know. So enjoy your time, guys. Enjoy your day like it's the last day. You know, you got money in the bank, enjoy your money, because you're not gonna take that money when you die. So I've learned this process for me had taught me a lot of stuff, and I've learned also who's who around you. You know, some people they might like you because you'll be able to take them to a concert or to a photo shoot or to meet their celebrity, whatever. But at the end, they don't care, bro. They don't care. They just want another number. You know, one day you're gonna lose everything, and they're not gonna forget you for the first 2 weeks. But after that, you're gone, bro. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
facts, bro.
enjoy your time. You know, that's what I've learned. Like, you know what, I meditate a lot and I pray a lot to God when I'm sitting down in the dialysis chair. 4 hours there. All right? Changing my blood, changing my oil. That's the way I say. I'm changing my oil today.
You know that, but before I was a photographer, I used to work for a private ambulance company. I used to
You
transport dialysis patients. So
and you know that they very like weak, you know,
weak,
like
drained after
we
that.
come out of that like weak. We don't want to hear nobody. We don't want to talk to nobody, and it is what it is, you know. So at the end of the day, I appreciate you. Why? Because we're here right now, you know, and we're doing something for us. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful to be here. I'm very happy that you took the initiative to actually do this, because you have a lot of talent. The thing is that sometimes we take a lot of things for granted because we don't get appreciated that enough, you know? So
I always say that, you know, I feel like I'm walking in my calling now by, you know, inspiring the next generation of creators and helping the youth and showing them that no matter the background, the experiences, or, you know, where they come from, that anything is possible. So I'm a pure example. We're a pure example of that.
The thing is that try to do some good deed every day. No matter if it's in photography, like if it's something that you got, let's say somebody like is stranded and you could help him, you know, because you never know. It could be your relative. It could be your family member, you know. You have kids, you have family, you have your mom. Thank God that your mom is better now too.
Amen. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Because I know you went through.
May 2nd it'll be a year cancer free.
I remember.
Yeah. So
we were at the same hospital.
Yes.
You know,
I was taking turns.
Yeah, we didn't know.
I'll go drop her off and then go visit you.
Yeah, like if you had 2 wives. You have your chicha there too. I'll be back. I gotta get something. You know, I gotta go to the cafeteria.
My side chick real quick.
Yeah, I gotta go to the cafeteria.
Oh man, what is your thoughts about coming from the film and tape era and how everything is digital now?
Wow, it's a scam. Yeah, I was talking to Anthony about it. Listen, coming from that era, it was a lot of people didn't want to get dirty, you know, like working with film. And film is a monster, because let's say you go and
you can't see no instant results. There's no cheating.
It was blind.
Yes.
You know, let's say you go and do a wedding.
So many dudes with cameras now, you know.
So many dudes.
I don't call them photographers or videographers. Dudes with cameras.
You remember that when we used to do a lot of work out there, like nobody was taking, you know, seriously, because they used to pay for us to go and take a picture because it was tedious. Imagine you go and do a wedding and you don't know what you're doing. That's only once in a lifetime, or as many times that you want to get married.
Right.
But you get one chance.
Exactly.
You know, imagine like you
have digital with where you can take 6,000 frames. You only have you have film with 36 shots or 24.
There you go. So you had to be precise.
Yep.
Now you don't like it, you erase it. or you leave it there and then you
or you
edit.
adjust it right there on the spot.
There
where
you
say,
go.
oh shoot, I'm off.
Yeah.
I'm underexposed. Oh, wait a minute, I'm overexposed.
There
Where
you go.
before you didn't know nothing.
Thank
of that.
God to Polaroid, but at the same time, it's a principle. Like, you gotta know what you're doing. Even if it's digital, you gotta know what you're doing, because a lot of times you have you pressing time, basically. That was redundant, but you pressing time because you have a deadline that you gotta meet. All right. But now I was telling Anthony too that I have a program. Let me give a little promo. Evoto. Evoto is a program that you put all the pictures, all the shots, and by one click, you fix all the pictures, and you do whatever you want with them. Like, you adjust whatever you want, and that's it. You in 10 minutes you edit every picture. Before, you used to take days.
They just gave these dudes with cameras more ammunition.
No, yeah. I like to give tips. You know what? We should do that every week. Giving tips. Giving tips to these little kids that they think they're photographers, but they don't know nothing about it. Like, when they get nervous, when they see the dial on the camera.
Or when they see A.
They see A, they think, oh, A. Or they see P, they think, oh, that's professional. Oh, that's put it on professional. Come on. Or they see the Running Man. Put on the Running Man. They don't know. Or they see the flower. Oh, that should be beautiful with that flower. They don't know.
Ignorant.
Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you any advice you would give to the next generation of creators.
And my advice will be, don't think about buying the next camera. Think about perfectioning your skills. All right? It's all about lighting. You could have the best of the best camera ever, but if you don't know about lighting and composition, you're gonna be lost, my brother.
Facts.
So try to just perfection yourself and get creative. Because the camera is just an piece of equipment that you could replace it now with a phone. And it's facts, because I've done a lot of work with my Galaxy Note 20. It saved my life one time.
they're doing all these movies now with the iPhone and with the just
iPhone.
The gimbal. And
I just purchased an iPhone 15 Pro Max just for that, just to do film. So because I got to get with the new era.
Right.
I'm learning as I go, because I don't know it all, but I've learned that sometimes you need to be up there, with the people that are making it. And that's it. It's not about competition. It's more about getting into the field the way you should be.
And also making your life a lot easier as well.
A lot easier.
Especially now where, everyone just doing reels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You don't got to spend a week editing a project when you could just take a bunch of clips and then throw it into a reel, add some music, and keep it moving.
Yeah, but
at this day and age, that's what it is. I know as us, as we come from that old era. It's like we look at it like, are you serious?
Old school.
Yeah, old school, but we don't come from that.
No. But I
again, like Old Smooth told me the other, when I saw him the last time he was here for a class, he's like, bro, make your life easier, especially for social media. You don't got to go crazy trying to edit this amazing masterpiece.
YouTube,
where most people ain't gonna even care about it after a week or two anyway.
About the quality, like people think about 4K and 6K and 8K, 12K, 18K. Bro, that's useless. Because when you go to YouTube, what? 720. You don't need the 4K. It's compressed. Even if you shoot on 4K, you got to compress it, because sometimes you don't have the computer that is fast enough for you to edit. That's why sometimes it lags a lot. It stops, and then you like, oh my God, it's taking a lot of time for me to edit this, and then it's because of that. But I have a funny story that happened to me one time. I had a phone call from this lady. She's like, hey, I heard you do weddings. I'm like, yeah, I do weddings. If I give you my phone, will you charge me less? I'm like, I have an iPhone. I'm like, lady, you offending me. She's no, for real, literally. She's like, "Will you charge me less?" I'm like, "No, I don't do that. Why don't you get a cousin of yours or your son to shoot it for you?"
Dash to even ask that kind of question.
So ghetto, man.
But people are bold nowadays.
Yeah. And they don't have no mercy for you, man. It's like they want to save money.
They don't appreciate.
They don't appreciate
our gift or
the
talent.
art.
Yes,
It's
not
art.
about that no more. They don't care about that.
They just care about their pockets.
Yeah, what's the cheapest way I could get it done? Instead of
well, that happened
quality.
to me, man. I didn't know what
funny.
to say though. I was like, "Oh my god, what should I say?"
Are you like, am I being punked? Like,
I was like, "Yeah,
real?
where the cameras at?"
Like, is this real?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some interesting stories which I won't to repeat right now, but I mean, that's the first. Like, I would have been like, I'm probably been like, what?
Yeah, like like she's trying to be smart and.
They'd be like, whoa, how about it's less if you don't have to edit? I said, to be honest with you, especially for special occasions, I shoot pretty on the money that you don't need editing.
Now with these programs, bro, like with these apps, you just press a button, and if you have double chin, that would like, no, you're laughing, but that's the way it is, man.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm laughing because that's probably what half of these Instagram models use. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, like, oh my God. I know. I have another interesting anecdote. One time I did a photo shoot for this girl. She's a makeup artist. She's like, oh, you know what? Why don't you do a photo shoot on me? I'm like, yeah, why not? You know? So I did the photo shoot, bro. And I went to Photoshop and I just redid the whole thing. Like I did a surgery basically.
Oh, I've done that many times. Trust me.
Oh my God. And she has this gay guy. They're friends, whatever. And then when he came in, and he came with her to see the pictures, and I showed him, and he's like, "Who's that?"
That's happened to me before
I
too.
was like, that's your friend.
Oh my God, this chick is bad. I showed them the magazine, right? And they're like, yo, introduce me to Shorty.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, but she's
That's
right.
her.
She's right here. And they're like, looking at the picture, looking at her, looking at the picture. And you know, they want to say something, but they don't say something.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
You do magic. Are you a magician? Or a photographer?
You a surgeon?
Oh man.
Oh my God, brother.
It's funny thing.
Oh my God, it was a pleasure talking to you today, man. What would you like people, if when it's all done and said, like you said, it's about legacy? What do you want people to remember about Mike Collado?
About the humble guy that was always, doing his things. Because I do everything out of love. At one point, I didn't care about money. Now I care about money because
it's necessary.
It's necessary. But back in the days, we used to do a lot of stuff just for the love, and getting credits and stuff. I remember my first video. I did it for a hard drive. That was my
I tell the story. I just told the story the other day again, like because always people ask about Shaq, right? I got a phone call. I don't know. I remember it was I think it was a Thursday or Friday night. They said, "Hey, you want to go to Miami tomorrow?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. How much is the budget?" They said $150. I said, "Oh, okay. No, thank you." Right? The guy calls back and he says, "Hey, you didn't give me an opportunity to say who you're gonna shoot." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm not going to Florida for $150. But you're gonna shoot Shaquille O'Neal." I'm like, "What time is the flight?" Bro, yeah. And that was 2006. You know what I'm saying? And I still have a relationship with them to this day. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, especially, these new people with cameras, they all about, the money.
Yeah.
But the relationships is what's the most priceless thing you could receive. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know how many more doors or more checks are gonna come from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if you put money as in the forefront, of course we all got responsibilities and bills and all that, but opportunities are priceless.
Yeah, I'm a true believer too. That you need to expose yourself, and do what you love. But at the same time, if you get compensated, it's good. But you never know what job is gonna give you the next, bigger job. That's how we see it. Like we flew jets, we flew regular coach. First first class, But at the end of the day, it's just about doing the job and doing it right, because you never know who's gonna see that,
Or how many more people you're gonna meet off of that one client.
Yeah, luxury is one thing, but we've been to like all these fancy places. We've been to like myself. I've been to the Grammys, to the Oscars, to the Premio Lo Nuestro, all those stuff. But at the end of the day, that's all fake, A lot of people go and they get like watches and rings, these guys,
materialistic stuff.
This guy from the store, in downtown, giving so they could expose them and giving promotion. Hey, I'm giving a lot of stuff, that's supposed to, but that's how it is, man. And like, don't believe the hype, Like, what we do is create, and that's what my advice to people, like, just be creative and forget about luxury and all that, because at the end of the day, you're not gonna take all that luxury when you die, But a picture would stay as long as it's posted somewhere, Like, one of my biggest accomplishments, like you asked me that before, was seeing one of my pictures in Times Square, and also when I saw one of my pictures in one of the magazines like XXL, I was like, whoa, this is real.
Yeah, I remember those feelings, bro.
Yeah, it is a good feeling, because you could relate to that.
Definitely. So, I never thought in a million years I'd be blessed to do the things I've been blessed to do. And they're probably the same for you.
And one thing too, Felix, that all the stuff that we did, they're gone, because that's it. There's a lot of places, like, for example, I was fortunate enough to shoot at Copacabana, the real Copacabana.
Mm-hmm.
That club is gone.
Yep.
A
lot of legendary spots are no longer there. New York don't even look like New York.
New York, no. So that's my satisfaction. Like, I've been to a lot of, like, Jimmy's Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Jimmy's Bronx shooting, like, a lot of people, like, after the parade or a concert, like Fat Joe, stuff like that. And that place is gone.
A lot of places.
Well, I was part of it. I was part of that history. You too.
But I wanted to say, first of all, I had to give you your flowers, my brother, because again, you're the first person, to come to me and give me the opportunity where I was very shy, very reserved, and
broke the ice.
You broke the ice, and you made me a lot more comfortable. I mean, still not where I need to be, but I'm definitely grateful for that, brother. I love you dearly, bro, and
too,
I'm always praying for you, brother, and you just you keep fighting, because we still got a lot left to do. I love you, brother.
I love you too, man.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for the invite.
Much love. God bless you.
All right. You could find me at Instagram is my Collado, and I also have my Collado Travels. That's my traveling channel. I've been to all these places. God bless everybody. Thank you for listening to us, and I hope you have fun.
Much love, bro.
Much love.
Man, what a way to kick off the return of Legend in the Game. Big salute to my brother Mike Collado for pulling up and sharing his journey, his mindset, and all the moves he made behind the scenes. From media to mentorship, this man's been building something powerful for a long time, and I'm proud to see how far he's taken it. This episode reminded me of why I started this show in the first place, to spotlight the voices, the stories, and the legacies of real ones who put in the work and inspire others to do the same. If you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure you follow Michael and tap into everything he's doing. And always, follow Legend in the Game on Media City Radio. We're back, and this season we're taking it to another level. Until next time, stay locked in, stay focused, and keep building your own legacy. I'm Felix Natal Jr., and this is Legend in the Game. Peace and love. God bless.